This has serious implications for the New York Knicks, as there's been a lot of discussion following the hiring of Mike Brown. Who else is going to be moved on to this Knicks coaching staff, and how these decisions are going to impact the Knicks players, who they're going to sign throughout the rest of free agency, some other connections to players through coaches as well, and who on Tom Thibodeau's staff is going to get to keep their jobs while others are not going to, as Mike Brown has some tough decisions to make, and the Knicks will be making decisions based somewhat off what Mike Brown does, and we're going to break all that down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into things as always. And if you guys are part of that 68% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, we got daily videos like this twice a week. You do not want to, twice a day, not twice a week. We got 14 videos a week. Make sure to subscribe. We're having a bunch of fun on this channel. You do not want to miss out on all the great New York Knicks content. But let's jump into the video. There's a lot to go over, as when Mike Brown got hired, there was a lot of questions that needed answers to him. And now we're starting to see more of that unfold with the Knicks and what their move is going to be going forwards. Now, obviously, over the Knicks hired the assistant coaching staff, it seems like it's not going to have that much of an impact, but a lot of these moves are going to be made based off connections, and those connections do extend to players. I mean, we've seen the Knicks do this before, most notably with Johnny Bryant, but it's gone outside of that as well. The Knicks have brought in guys for certain personnel, and also so other players can kind of start to see breakout seasons. Now, diving right into it, Ian Begley did reveal that the Knicks will not force Mike Brown to keep any of Tom Thibodeau's former assistant coaches. Brown and other coaches were told during the interview process that they'd hire an autonomy they'd have an autonomy in hiring their own staff. So Brown will build his own staff. He is targeting James Borrego for the top role on the staff and views Borrego as a great offensive coordinator of sorts, but Borrego is under contract in New Orleans, so it could be difficult to procure him, especially because it's not a promotion per se, and that's a big kind of difficult hurdle to get over. Now, as we know about James Borrego specifically, he is someone who the Knicks want. It's no secret. I've talked about this already. We're not going to harp on it, but we do know he's an excellent, excellent offensive coach. Now, you go through the Reddit for the Charlotte Hornets, and fans are absolutely loving it, with them saying he had really creative offensive schemes and he did well in Charlotte. The downfall was the control of the locker room and incredibly odd substitution patterns, or lack thereof. It was like he forgot certain starters resting on the bench. And as said, I think an offensive coordinator role is great for him. On top of that, we're seeing people say that I think he runs a good free-flowing offense. But as Mikal Bridges pointed out, in his struggles more with slower down coordinated plays, which Steve Clifford was better at, and he thinks that James Borrego is perfect as an offensive associate head coach. So all we're seeing right now with the Knicks and with James Borrego is people saying that he's a great offensive mind and that he's going to be a great coach for this team. He's really good as an assistant coach as well, and he's got good philosophy, but sometimes they do pass up layups for threes, something that does make sense on a Mike Brown team as well, so it does make some sense there, guys. But honestly, what I think about this whole situation more than anything is that the Knicks, they want Borrego because they think he'll be an extension of Mike Brown and can be the offensive coordinator so Mike Brown can focus more on the head coaching responsibilities. And I do think that's important. We know Brown is going to have coordinators both on offense and defense, and they want Borrego for that role so Brown doesn't have to just lock in and coordinate the whole offense. All that being said, there are moves that stretch way past just James Borrego as well. Now, taking a look at what Ian Begley also mentioned, he said Mike Brown is also considering some former Thibodeau assistants for his staff. He will evaluate his options as he gets going, but as he sorts things out, Begley said, I'd strongly expect Rick Brunson, Darren Erman, Mark Bryant, and Maurice Cheeks to end up on Brown's staff. How the staff looks will ultimately be his call, but I'd be surprised if the names mentioned above are not on the final staff. I do agree 100% with Begley here as well. When we look just at this whole Knicks coaching staff, there's going to be a few guys who are going to get there, and not all of these guys were in that coaching staff by the end, but we do have some people here. Obviously, when we just take a look at like a guy like Maurice Cheeks or something, that'll be interesting. But also, we see this guy show up. Now, I'm about to explain who this is, but it is a direct point out that the man all the way to the left on this photo, Dice Yoshimoto, will not be one of the returning staff members for the New York Knicks next season. So, buckle in. Dice is no longer going to be there. After he sort of felt like after Tibbs and the Knicks lost Johnny Bryant, like Dice could be the heir apparent to Tibbs if he were to retire. But it was mentioned by James Edwards that Jordan Brink will be the coaching staff, or will be coaching the New York team, the Knicks. I really struggled right there, guys. In Las Vegas, per multiple league sources, Brink was on Tibbs' staff and largely responsible for one of the best challenge success rates in the NBA. He's good. He's a young coach, deserving of the role. Now, Brink is an interesting guy. James Edwards did cover him back when he worked for Detroit and was their coach in 2022 for that staff, and everything about it was how Brink has mentioned it's hard to climb the ladder of the NBA coaching situation here. It's difficult to get over the hump, but once you do, good things do happen, and you kind of are pretty good at sticking around. Now, Jordan Brink will be coaching this young team, and that will be interesting to see what he does, what his moves sort of are. Obviously, when we look at this list, we see Dice Yoshimoto. He was our guy. Cheeks, Ehrman, Brunson, and Greer are likely all fine. Yoshimoto's the odd man out here. And we look at the coaches' challenges through January, and what we see is the Knicks had the best success rate in basketball on challenging stuff. So Jordan Brink is an excellent coach, and he's going to be someone who has a huge impact on the Knicks. And right now, with him coaching this, we can all basically infer, just knowing this, that Brink is going to be with the Knicks for the foreseeable future. He's going to be on Mike Brown's staff, or he would not be coaching this team. They know Brink is going to be there because he's an elite challenge coach, so he's not going to go anywhere. On top of that, what we're also going to see is the Knicks effectively start to add more pieces onto this coaching staff as time goes on. One of the most, if not the most exciting piece when it comes to assistant coaching is how Mark Stein mentioned, it's believed the Knicks also have interest in none other than Phil Handy for Mike Brown's new staff in New York after they worked together on the Lakers and the Cavaliers. Now, Phil Handy is a legendary assistant coach already. He's been an assistant coach at the NBA level for around 10, 12-ish years now, and he's won 3 different rings with 3 different teams. The man has been a massive success story in the NBA entirely. We look at what Phil Handy was doing. He was an assistant coach, an assistant and player development coach with Cleveland in the LeBron years, starting in 2015-16, where ultimately they would win the NBA Finals. You go to Toronto for a year in 2019. What happens? He wins an NBA championship there. The next year, he goes to Los Angeles. What happens there? He ends up being an assistant coach on a Lakers team that wins a championship. This man is championship built. It's a shocker that he does not have an NBA head coaching job at this point. One could definitely be coming, but the Knicks seem like they desperately want to get Phil Handy in there, and this kind of does show what Leon Rose has done in the past when we take a look at a guy like Phil Handy. You bring in the best guys possible, because as long as you start to bring in those guys, what you start to see in return is some real success with what's going down. Like, you start to see a team that is being ran like a top-notch organization, which is what instantly happened when Leon Kimmy is like, we're going to run this like a top-notch organization, because if we run it like that, good things are going to happen, and we're going to start performing like one. That's exactly what happened even when Leon first came in, that was the game plan, and it worked swimmingly. So I do want to see that continue, and I do believe it will continue for this Knicks team as well. I love the idea of Phil Handy. I love the idea of James Borrego. I love Jordan Brink. These are guys who I do want on the staff. And yeah, we'll have to lose some people. We know that Mike Brown is not going to get rid of Rick Brunson. That's a really bad way to start off your relationship with your superstar player. And obviously, the franchise player at the time for the Kings, De'Aaron Fox, and Mike Brown famously stopped getting along, which is part of the reason why Fox got traded, even though Fox wanted to be traded well before then anyway. And Mike Brown just called him out on it. So there's that whole situation as well. But when it comes down to Mike Brown, I love saying that. It's so fun. But when you start to consider all this, it does make some sense what the Knicks are trying to do here. And I actually do really like what the Knicks are trying to do here. They're trying to build an elite assistant coaching staff around Mike Brown, who does have a few flaws here and there and isn't some major insane upgrade over Tom Thibodeau after all. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Mike Brown was not my first choice. I do like him better than Tibbs because he's an offensive coach. It's the team that needs an offensive coach when their 2 best players are Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. But I do like the assistants they're trying to add. If I could pick one, I would probably not pick Brink, even though I love Brink. But Brink's going to be on the team anyway, so he doesn't count. I would pick Phil Handy. The man's just a winner. Don't get me wrong. I do love James Borrego. I'm a really big fan of him as a coach. I wanted him to be the Knicks head coach. But I love the idea of Phil Handy. This man knows how to win. He knows how to be the assistant coach on a winning team. I would love for the Knicks to go grab him. But guys, what do you want to see the Knicks do? Obviously, the assistant coaching stuff feels like more of a background noise situation, but it does have an impact. If you bring in Phil Handy, there's going to be certain players who just love Phil Handy. He's universally loved in the coaching world. People are going to want to play for him again. So that is going to have a positive impact on the Knicks. And Mike Brown, also who worked with Handy twice, those two are going to have a built-in connection that's going to help so much for this team moving forwards. Guys, let me know all your thoughts on the coaching situation down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Knicks. This is coming out on the 4th of July. I'm filming it on the 3rd, but happy 4th of July, guys. Go America. If only my mustache, I shaved today, really makes me look French. Really poor timing, guys. Really poor timing.